if you took what's allocated to the reserve and next year's reserve, you'd have 2 years covered, right? So then you'd really only be hanging out there for 3 years.
Yes, if something happened with contracts, it'd be 3 years in the
I
future.
mean, we're gonna, with the date of the contract, I forget the date of it, but we're gonna be in next year's budget when we renegotiate it.
Yeah.
So we'll have this year's and next year's already locked in.
And by then you'll know about the grant, then you can
Yeah, well, we'll definitely know that, yeah.
So we've got one more payment under the current contract also.
Yes, yeah.
So you could potentially take care of 3 years of payments.
Potentially.
And we don't want to be discussing contracts in this open forum now, but it's hard to imagine that,
We don't know what will
it's hard to
happen.
imagine that Tyler is not going to want a contract for us.
Well, I'm sure.
Unless we don't have,
contract.
unless we don't have
We don't have fire
equipment that can fight fire.
We're getting paid after Lincoln's gone.
Right.
So you got a motion, and
We
you
got a second.
got a second, and you've discussed that.
We're discussing
It's already discussed.
Yeah, Charlie.
So, do we have any more discussion on this resolution, which would finance the tax for 5 years? All 25 of them. This doesn't say how we're gonna get the money to pay the payment.
Right.
That would have to be done next or later.
Yeah, either after this or the next meeting or...
Yeah, hopefully after this, otherwise we can't do it.
Right.
To be clear, I think the only thing you would need to do is for this fiscal year, say, reappropriating the money from
Right.
one to another.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
that was going to be another resolution to take that money. We would put it in reserve. Would we need now, with this 5 years instead of 7, et cetera, would we need to have a 2/3 majority to pass this now?
Mm-hmm.
We need it no matter what.
Yep.
Okay.
We would need it beyond the 7th, probably, right? We would
Oh,
need it-
yeah, in either case.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we're going to vote on this? And then something else to talk about? Have a motion in a second, so we don't vote.
And we're going to vote. You know how I feel. I'm going to vote for it, but I would still prefer to look at other possibilities, but I've done that for months and then we get in trouble and we're going to probably do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's do it. Fran?
Yes.
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 Nail over there.
Okay, so now where is the money coming
So
from?
now we have to do
Down
that.
payment?
Yeah. So now we have to do a resolution to use the money that was appropriated for the reserve account to make the down payment.
Does Nate need to write that or can we just do that?
I think you can just do it.
That would be the motion, that we appropriate the money that would this year be going into the fire reserve, rather than interrupting my motion, you said it has not gone in there. We appropriate that money instead of going to the fire reserve. Oh, I had written this down before. Into the down payment and whatever extra for the leasing of the equipment. That would be my motion.
So, second.
I have somewhere here the old motion that we made in 1985 to appropriate all money, 90% of monies, 80% of monies from the from the contracts to the reserve, et cetera, will this motion override that, or do we need to repeal that motion or do something with that whole motion about how that money all gets appropriated?
I think, given that we're being very clear that, this is meant to, for purposes of this fiscal year, supersede any prior motions relating to use of contract monies
For this year.
for this year.
So just this resolution will negate that over.
So then they'll get 100% of this reserve fund. Is that what you're saying?
All of this.
This year, instead of 10-10, they're gonna get 100%. Is that motion, that's what the motion
The
said?
motion in 85 had 80% going, the village got 10% for the fire department. The fire department got 10% and 80% went into the reserve fund. We're going to not put any of it in there this year, we're going to use it all for this,
Pay on this.
for this.
It's a good idea.
Well, it's 40,000 for,
Roughly, yeah.
so you're gonna use 24,000.
Is 24 the down payment?
We'll use whatever is allocated in the budget this year going to the reserve.
It's gonna be,
So I think if you start touching the fire company's money, you might need their sign off on it.
That's probably true.
We're not,
Well, if
we're
you're
not
taking
gonna,
it.
we're gonna take it, that hasn't been put in reserve, so we're not gonna take any of the fire department.
Yeah, it's not theirs yet.
Well, except I think under the way that resolution works and also the contracts probably works.
It's not the whole contract amount that goes in the reserve.
Yeah. So,
80% of the contract goes to reserve, 10% goes to the fire department, and 10% goes to the village for fire department expenses. I have someplace I had
Okay.
that 85 resolution in my bag here.
Almost ready.
yeah, but, so
Do you
I,
want
Are
me
you
to?
taking 100% of the contract monies or 100% of the 80% that's supposed to be going?
Would be 100% of the 80%.
Often with these contracts, some of the money
well, I
goes to
thought
the fire
100%,
company.
100%.
No, I think 100% of the 80. Whatever's in our budget to go to the reserve. Which I can look it up. Do you want me to look it up?
Does Jimmy have the contract numbers?
Do you want me to look up the budget? And I'll tell you
No,
what
I'm just gonna find the 85.
Fine, like, what you guys can do whatever you want with your money, but if some of that money's meant to go to the fire company, then
Right.
that still has to go to the fire company.
per the contract. So resolution basically. We can find
One second.
Intermission. Showing the down payment of $34,000. Showing the 5-year term. There was a UNES set out in January 26th.
Let me see what we put in the budget.
Or 28th, I'm sorry.
The amount we allocated, putting in the reserve is that 80%.
January.
I want to say 35,000.
I think what we put in the budget is the whole amount.
That's just the resolution from 85. It tells us what it is. Yeah.
So that's a letter from them.
One was the estimate, one was resolution.
So Nate, just a philosophical question. How is the resolution of the previous board passed going to bind this board from
You can undo.
reappropriating the funds the way we see fit?
Yeah, you can certainly undo prior resolutions like that. The only concern that I had with it was if some of the money, often under fire protection contracts like this, some of the money goes to the fire company. And the fire company itself, like a nonprofit.
Well, we don't
It
know.
did not.
And if it's not going to any of them, then you can just undo it.
Yeah.
That's fine. And I think looking at that, the way it's phrased is a little confusing to me because it references the Amigo Fire Department, which is the nonprofit. So,
Yeah,
but if you're
saying that way back then.
well, right, but if any of the money's going to nonprofit,
They're still close to
the fire companies are supposed to approve these outside contracts, and they do that usually contingent on them getting a portion of those funds for nonprofit purposes.
But we don't typically have to approve our contracts, do we?
If you're not sending them money, we can have a conversation.
But whatever they decide to do, well, whatever they take part in that, they can always.
So the contract is 49,260.
Because they didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Corporation.
Right, whatever they split, whatever they decide that split is, if they have access to it, they can always pull it from the.
So if there's more than enough going in the reserve fund, appropriate this year,
Plan and we're really talking about 40.
So what did you come up with the down payment was?
It's 34,000.
34,000. I think we're covered on that.
And Jimmy, what was the contract total? What did you have?
Contract is 201,460.
No, the contract
The tower contract?
is 49?
49,360.
40, so 50 grand, 80% of of 50 grand is 40 grand, so we could certainly come up with a 30
Yeah.
something by using that 80%. Do you want to?
We have
Not just, do we have
35,000 slated to go in there. Into the reserve.
Yeah, so that's,
We had 35?
that's how much we budgeted just to
Right.
go in there, yeah. Because they don't get the whole thing, they reserve fund, they don't get that 10 and 10, they get
Right.
80%.
I understand that, and if it's about 50, then about 80% of 50 is about 40 would go in there, but we only put 35 in,
Right.
so we're giving them less than 80%. So,
You know, I still have to speak up for the emergency services. You know, a portion of that should be going to a reserve fund for the ambulances.
and we've talked about that, that we're going to approach that, although.
Well, you're saying this 49,000 all belongs to the fire department. It does
It
not.
does.
How should it?
There's a difference between it does or it should. It does because the village, well, it does because that's the law of the village passed.
Contract.
We're going to have a discussion about
We need to set that up.
about doing something like that. We've talked about having a discussion about some of that money going to the EMS, but we should probably solve this before we do that, because we can discuss what we're gonna do with further monies, or what we're gonna do with the extra leftover monies.
Right now, the fire department is here.
Right now, we're trying.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand. But you shouldn't just be assuming that all of that money belongs to the fire department.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, there was, well, we had, a couple of years ago, we used that same account to buy ambulances and whatever, so.
But they're two different departments now.
Now they are, it's contract different.
Right. Well, it's different, totally different situation now.
And we're going to,
We have to go.
and we're going to have that discussion.
yeah, so I think we should develop some plan for,
To create that reserve.
Yeah.
We talked about that last week.
Right.
That's something we're interested in.
whether it's some of these contract funds or it's out of the billing.
Well, to get that renegotiated, we gotta figure out how the EMS
Well,
works.
that
let's-
contract fund is to cover emergency services
Yeah,
also,
Yeah,
in addition to fire services.
Let's,
That is the purpose of it.
I'm not trying to be rude, but we're going to have that whole full discussion, but let's focus on this particular motion and situation, and because that's a big discussion we're going to have.
Well, you can't, I don't see how this, whatever it was that came up in 85 can still apply, because
It applies because it's passed, and until we rescind it, it continues to apply.
Right. That's true.
well, I propose we rescind it.
Well, right now,
Not in the middle of this motion.
right now, we have a motion. Do we have a motion?
We do. We do.
all right, Rusty started, I'll second it.
All right, so, the motion, tell me again what the down payment is.
34,000.
About 34,000. So the motion will be that we take $34,000 out of the appropriation for, I'm taking my motion back, putting the motion. I'm gonna take $35,000 or in that area out of the, or however it has to be said.
Amount not to exceed 35.
That's 35, so out of the appropriation for the, you know what I said before, for the reserve fund and use it for the down payment. Remaining contract monies in this fiscal year
We'll follow that motion.
Otherwise being allocated
will
in accordance with.
in accordance to the 85 resolution.
And whatever number it is, Roger Rock can get for it.
Okay? That's my motion.
You second that?
Ed second that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any discussion on Rusty's motion?
What are you talking about there? What amount are you talking about?
Okay, we get about $50,000 at this moment in contract money.
From Tyler?
And we're talking about using 35 of that for the down payment. which will leave around $15,000.
Yeah.
That $15,000 for this fiscal year will be appropriated in the 10%, 80% that the whole amount would have been appropriated. So for the rest of this fiscal year, 10% will go to the fire department for administration, 10% will go to the village general fund to help defray other costs of the fire department, and 80% will go into the fire reserve
And the 35,
of the 15.
and the 35,000 was appropriated as part of our budget for this past year. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's already been appropriated for, to go to the reserves. We're just saying it's not gonna go to the reserves, it's gonna go towards this down payment.
I don't agree with that,
With what's that?
with what you're saying as far as the dividing up the monies. That's,
Sorry, copy that. No, that's legitimate.
That's how it's been.
unless reading legitimate from then, but it is not legitimate now. We have two different departments
Right, that's what he's
that
saying.
has to be
That's what he's saying. We're-
taken care of. I mean, you know, all the times that our ambulances go to Tioga is supposed to be covered with this reserve.
Which they are, because we've been floating their bill, basically. Because we can't bill in Tioga, so.
Technically, the last ambulance came out of the fire department reserve, correct?
It did.
Yes.
Yeah, all of them.
No, it came out of the monies that were set aside from the, that were taken in from donations.
No, those are different ones. All the ambulances have come out of the fire reserve, really.
So what was, are we good on, generally on using the 35,000 on
Yeah,
this
I'm fine
reserve
with
for
that.
the down payment, so we're good there?
I don't think we should attach this to it. That's a totally different question.
We're taking the 35 out of that money, unless we make some other accommodation at this moment, have whatever discussion we have now, decide how many dollars go here and there and everything, unless we do all that right this minute. That is what counts, because that's the law, that's the rule, until we change it. We certainly,
I propose we change it right now.
without any discussion, without any thought about how many monies we're gonna get, how much is needed, how much should go here, how much should go there, you just want to do it right now without any of that? I want to have the discussion about doing all that stuff.
I don't think this
I don't wanna have it.
belongs in the proposal that we take the 35,000 from the reserve money that's coming in, and at the same time say, and another part of that goes back into your equipment reserve. When there is no equipment reserve for the ambulances, that's got to be changed. So I say no on what you're proposing.
I think we all agree that it should be changed and it will be changed, but
But he's attaching this to the resolution to take 35,000. That's a totally different issue.
I'm not attaching that. We're taking 35 out of the 50 we get. There'll be 15 left over. What would happen if we didn't do anything at all? That 15 would follow this 1985 resolution. That's where we're all going. If we change our mind right now and decide not to buy these Skyler packs, that's where the money's gonna go right now. We can change that at any time.
We've already bought them, we gotta figure out how to pay for them now.
I'm just telling you, now in 5 minutes, without any thought or anything, is the time to change that resolution.
Well, I don't think that resolution should be attached to us voting on taking the down payment out of the reserve fund.
Keeping that since 85.
I mean, Fran's point is, I think, is a valid one. I think it's been referenced and discussed already. She would like the allocation of monies from this contract distributed in a different manner than that resolution. Fran, I think how you're phrasing it as being attached to the resolution that was just mentioned for the down payment isn't quite accurate. It's definitely getting referenced because, to Rusty and Ron's point, that allocation from 1985 is still the allocation that is going to apply to the rest of the monies that are being talked about in this motion. I think it's okay to reference that. Except now, that discussion ended. I'm not sure if the vote actually took place or not.
Not yet.
No, we have not voted yet.
So you're still in the discussion. I think from a point of order type of thing, somebody could move to end discussion and then to move on with the vote. And then after that, Fran, if you want to revisit the allocation of the monies, then you could ask for a motion or a discussion about the other monies from this contract and see if the rest of the board would like to have that discussion now, or there could be no second to your motion and then discussion ends, or there could be a brief discussion. I mean, we have rules of procedure for a meeting, and I think that's what Rusty's hoping that, we'll get to, because it did start to feel like the conversation was starting to get a bit circular. But definitely valid discussion.
I'll call the vote.
Okay.
What are we voting on?
To take the $35,000 out of the money that is set to go to the reserve account and use it to pay the down payment. So, Fran?
All right, vote yes on that.
The rest of the motion, no, you need to know this, because you think...
That's why I asked.
I understand, and that's why I'm explaining it to you.
You did not say what the whole motion
The whole
was.
motion is, and that the remainder of that money, that was going to go into the reserve, will continue to go where it was going to go before we decided to buy these Skyler tanks.
Right.
That was the rest of the motion.
Would the motion necessarily have to have that language in it, though?
I'm thinking.
Because we're doing what we want to do with our part of the money.
Right.
Right.
The others.
And I think my original concern was that the other parts of the money were going to, or that you were trying to take all the money, and that some of that money was supposed to be allocated to the fire department specifically, like the fire companies. But it looks like from the language of that resolution, that may not be the case. So, I mean,
We're just taking it out that was already...
Trying to clarify that what happened.
yeah, and I mean,
you're
Fran,
not
though,
following that order now.
this has all prompted a very valid discussion, even without Rusty adding this language on. That's what's going to happen with the rest of the money.
Correct, that's what it said.
That's what's been happening.
If I don't have the language, it's gonna go there.
Right.
Okay.
You want me to take the language out?
If it
You want me to take
says,
the language out, tell them what's gonna happen with the rest of that money, I'll take it out.
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, I rescind the motion, somebody rescind a second?
yes.
You know the motion now, Rodney, 35 grand of the budgeted reserve money to go toward the... That's it, that's the whole motion.
That's the motion.
Okay. Let's vote on that. Fran?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Good.
All right. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
You need the agreements.
No more questions,
No
John?
doubt.
Next is department head reports.
Yeah, well, Robin couldn't make it, she's got a cold.
Right, you should tell me anything?
Yes, she said that they do have plenty of masks. I mean, there's questions for
Oh, the coronavirus?
the corona, so they've got a good supply. That ambulance 31 is going to shop in Pennsylvania because there's no heat in the back. You have to have heat for 6 years. And once that's done, then 32 also has to have repairs. It has video lights coming on.
Okay, just make sure they get quotes before they fix, you know what I mean?
But I think everybody needs to be educated with this coronavirus and the situation with the masks, because, what's the, Attorney General, they stated that they don't work in combating the virus. They're better fit for those who actually have the virus to try not to spread it.
Right.
So people are misinformed that wearing a mask.
Everybody really should be wearing a mask, you know what I mean? What's wrong with that?
And therefore everybody's running out buying these things up and importing and stuff like that.
I spoke with Lisa McCafferty at the health department this afternoon. And she said for right now, the main thing that we should be doing is whenever you have someone in the ambulance, you have gloves on. And she said that should be wearing masks. You know, especially if you have somebody that's complaining about breathing problems.
The main symptom is,
Well, that's a everyday common sense thing, but this is an escalated situation.
No, that's the main
With the
complaint with the coronavirus. People are having breathing problems.
well, we're not gonna cure coronavirus.
No, they're not gonna do
Keep our people safe as always. But yeah, just make sure they get estimates before they fix the ambulance, you know what I mean? Because anything over a certain dollar amount, we have to technically approve. And we should know
What
about
is the dollar amount?
$5,000.
5,000?
for,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
If they're taking the Pennsylvania and stuff.
Well, they're going to the same company that they bought the last ambulance from.
So that's like
They have a
New
new-
Jersey.
No, they have a new shop. I didn't get the location,
Okay.
but it's not that far away.
They are a certified repair shop, so
Yeah,
they would be a good one to take to.
yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I had concerns about the virus too, and I contacted the emergency management for Cuyahoga County and also the health department. And, you know, as the governor comes up with, you know, more information, then the emergency management will
Yeah, I mean,
start working with everybody, the schools and.
the biggest risk is, at least from what research I've done with the CDC or whatever, is mainly the elderly. So,
The elderly and small
even
children.
China didn't attack that many children, I guess.
Basically, wash your hands and touch your face.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Also, last Monday, Jim King and I went to Smith, what's the name? Who we have the insurance
Used to be the partners.
Yeah, because we're concerned about having insurance for the, especially the 501c3. And so anyway, we looked at the policy and it's all covered under the fire department's policy, which just...
Because that's just a billing entity, right? And the equipment and stuff like that is still owned by the fire or by the village, I guess, right?
Yeah, everything's on the
No, it's all, yeah, the $33,000 of coverage covers all the vehicles and everything.
Right.
And it also covers property that's not even owned by the village, which is one of my concerns. But at any rate, that's got to be redone here very shortly because they just renewed the policy.
Yeah,
March 1st.
First, yeah. So yeah, we definitely need to sort that out because I know Jimmy called
Yeah.
about it. Sort out a lot of insurance stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
Can I mention one thing on insurance?
My address is.
I want to say something on insurance. This is the flood insurance. I was meant to go
No.
ahead. So,
It's not flood.
on the fire department, fire station, the flood insurance, $22,000 a year they want us to pay. But that's only with a $2,000 deductible. I propose that we jack the deductible up to $20,000 at least.
Yeah.
I mean, $50,000 in the future. I mean,
20,000 would save us well.
And I would like to do it across the board, all our stuff, and then say we get a little money at the end of the year, we start a reserve fund for the difference in between the insurance, what the difference is.
Yeah.
Because we're just, I mean, 22 grand is a lot.
That's a lot.
Okay, so is that okay, like you start that bill process? Just-
I'd start collecting information and get,
Yeah, well, I've got stuff going there, but it's just, you know, it's just a matter of, I think it's way too much money for us to spend for that.
Yeah.
And then we'll just say down the road, we have some money, and we have to come up with a reserve, fund. The difference of the deductible.
Deductible reserve, yeah.
If you're gonna do some exploratory stuff about insurances, the fire chief also had, or the police chief also had some questions about his budget insurances going way up, and some cars, a car, at least maybe one that he doesn't even have anymore that we're insured.
We already done that.
But I'm just saying, that if we're gonna review insurance, it'd be a good idea to review insurance across the board.
Insurance deal.
Well, it's a flood insurance is just a one company, there's only one
Vehicles,
company.
people, cars.
So I'm just saying, well, insurance, whatever.
I'll do that tomorrow, I'll just say, we want all our deductibles, and hopefully, but after the flood, we did, like in our office, we put the furnace upstairs, there's only maybe downstairs, the hot water heater, so that's,
Yeah.
but I think
It's
our office
$1,000.
is
Yeah.
we're probably paying $5,000 or $6,000.
Right.
And you got all your stuff, you said your furnaces and everything upstairs, and one next door.
Oh, they're on the first floor.
Yeah, so if you took the difference between the $5,000 a year that you're spending on the policy, the premiums, and you got it knocked down to $1,000, you put $4,000 in reserve, you're good to go.
Yeah, that's what I think we should do.
There's no liability, but we're saving the money.
Right.
And then in the future, we'll have enough in that reserve in case we do have a catastrophe.
Yeah,
right.
Good to go, okay.
So that's all
Saying
done.
on all the village properties?
Yes, all the ones that we have flood insurance, like this building here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So subsequent to the annual meeting, that's supposed to all get
That's correct.
approved by the board anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, since the clock is ticking on that, I want to get them to change that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now watch it start raining tomorrow.
It's raining today.
Okay. You're good with that, right? Raise the deductible for the flood, you know, instead of paying 22,000.
It's village building.
It's only a great idea unless it floods this year.
Yeah.
Gather the info.
I think we should do that.
Yeah. See how much it'll save us.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, anything else besides,
Not at the moment, yeah, we're gonna need to go through all this.
yeah, I
Okay,
agree with that.
that's,
Okay. That's Robin.
Yeah, so I had that on my list too. The ESIP policy is quite large, and like I said, right now, all the ambulances and everything are still, everything's combined, so maybe it's who to sit down and see if you can add the police department on, because they're, that agency, and see if we can save money that way by bundling them.
And it's all owned by the village, it's really gonna be one big fault.
Yeah.
The agent, Nick, he seems like a really decent, knowledgeable guy, so be willing to sit down with them. Trucks, they've been going to maintenance over at Peterbilt. They set up an agreement with them to do PM service, which is your basic oil changes, stuff like that, New York State inspections. 804 was the first truck that went over, needed a couple $1,000s worth of work. 801's been sitting over there for a week and a half now, waiting for front shocks. So I'm only doing the necessities, both trucks need mufflers, stuff like that. I just have pulled off on the mufflers, the truck will still run on that one, so just might be a little bit louder. So that's that. Looking for approval that Company 3's to have a car wash at Central Station. I think it's April 11th. So you guys are good with that, so I'll let them know.
Do we need a motion?
Yeah, probably, because they wanna use our grounds to raise money.
Will the company 3's be allowed to have a car wash on April 11th?
Yeah, I believe that's it.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
That's,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Other than that, like I said earlier, our automatic mutual aid set up until our new packs come in, so it's nearest available, whether it be Tucson or Appalachian or Campville.
All right. Anything else?
Don't I?
No?
I have my numbers highlighted. February's calls, we have 4 fire alarms, 4 motor vehicle accidents, 2 carbon monoxide calls, 3 public service calls, 1 mutual aid, and 4 EMS assists. That is yours.
Jeff's not here. Everybody has report. Tracy's not here. Everybody has report.
It's pretty generic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy on this side. Next item is payment of bills. Third reading of payment of bills. Anybody have any questions about it?
Mr. Mayor?
No change?
There was a couple of questions last month, is that all been
Yeah.
straightened out?
Shit, up there.
Okay. You read this one under, and
Yeah, I won't do this one. A lot of bills. Anybody have any questions?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the paying of bills.
I'll second that.
There you go, okay. That's at the table. So is that a vote on that, Fran?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. We're signing on to my brownies, so that's my
We're
name.
team players.
There you go. Bug me now. And next item is the meeting minutes for 2/18/20. Anybody see any errors?
I'll make a motion to accept these minutes as well.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Charles and Laura. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Stay.
yes,
Yes.
Abstain.
And yes.
You don't want to do it? It's good with you.
I filled you in there.
Yes, you did. I felt like I was here.
Probably here. Our next item is communications. I didn't have much for this. I gave a letter to Nate, make sure you have that. There's another NICOM lobby day, because they didn't have it with the conference that Rusty and I went to. They're having it combined with the Association of Towns, which is where you go meet with your representatives at the Capitol. I want to say it's the 23rd.
Monday.
Something like that.